Hello everyone and welcome back to Wookiee Arcade. Today I'm starting a new series on the channel called Star Wars Re-Explained, and in this series I will be going over each trilogy from Star Wars and explaining what they really mean and what their importance is in the saga. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting series. Today I'll be starting out with the prequels, and let me tell you there are a whole bunch of hidden meanings and a whole bunch of stuff you probably didn't pick up on the first time that you watched the prequels. So stay till the end of this video because it gets very interesting. But before we get into the prequels explanation, please make sure to subscribe with post notifications on and like this video. Let's see if we can get to 200 subscribers by the end of the summer. So yeah, let's get into the video. Alright, before we can talk prequels, we have to understand what the main theme and the purpose of the prequels is in the first place. Now, don't be fooled, because most people in the first place think that the prequels is all about the Clone Wars and the rise of the Empire, but no, that's not it. Anakin's fall to the dark side is what George Lucas tries to focus on in the prequels. We can see this in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, not as much in The Phantom Menace, but it's really shown Anakin's turn to the dark side really nicely throughout the prequels. Because in Attack of the Clones, we really start to see Anakin's slow turn to the dark side all the way when he defeats the Tusken Raiders, kills all the women and children. Yeah, it sounds dark when I say it, but yeah, so... And the prequels is, in the end, all about Anakin and about his turn to the dark side. And we start off in the prequels by looking at the Phantom Menace, where we first meet Anakin. And in the Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn crashes on Naboo with Padme and Obi-Wan, and they're looking for a new hyperdrive. So they obviously go to Watto's place to get a new hyperdrive, and Anakin is there. They discover that Anakin is very strong in the Force, and they bring him to the Jedi Temple, and the rest is history. So the real importance of the Phantom Menace, especially at the end with the Duel of Fates, the Duel of Fates is called the Duel of Fates because it's essentially the fate of Anakin. Because if Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan win, Anakin gets that father figure, Qui-Gon Jinn, to teach him. So let's rephrase this for a second. Let's say Anakin and Obi-Wan are brothers, and Qui-Gon Jinn is the father. You need your father in your life because you look up to your father, you learn from your father, and since Qui-Gon lost to Darth Maul and was killed, Anakin lost that father figure. So he had to learn from essentially his brother, Obi-Wan. And as you know, siblings don't really listen to each other, so it made Obi-Wan teaching Anakin extremely difficult. So which is why it played into the role of Anakin turning to the dark side, which is why the Duel of Fates is called the Duel of Fates, because it's the fate of Anakin, of where his future lies, in Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon Jinn. So if you think about it, the Phantom Menace is actually really important in the prequels. So yeah, I don't know how I can put it more perfectly than that, but essentially, the Phantom Menace is really underlooked, because the Phantom Menace, as some people may say, oh, it's just a side story for watching Anakin's journey and origin to get to the Jedi Temple where he becomes a Jedi. But no, it's actually very important because we see the Duel of the Fates, where we see if Anakin had that father figure, Qui-Gon Jinn, maybe it would have prevented him to turn to the dark side. So The Phantom Menace was a very, very important film in the prequels, even though you may not realize it at first. Then let's move on to Attack of the Clones. We see Anakin 10 years later, and Anakin still has a thing for Padme. And this is actually really important because while the whole film is revolved around Anakin and Padme's relationship and drawing to each other, but George Lucas actually hid this very well, and it also shows Anakin's slight emotions, which leads him to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith. So, although Attack of the Clones is primarily about the beginning of the Clone Wars and Padme and Anakin's relationship, it is mainly trying to focus on Anakin's slow turn to the dark side, because we can still see him killing Tusken Raiders, we can see him raging over his mother dying, which was unfortunate, but if his mother survived and they actually freed his mother from slavery, he would have never killed the Tusken Raiders. We would have never saw his anger and slow turn to the dark side in Attack of the Clones. So if Qui-Gon saved his mother, then things would have been much different in the galaxy. Which is why Anakin's slow turn to the dark side made Attack of the Clones even better. Then, finally, we have Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith is where it gets all serious. We can really start to see Anakin's turn to the dark side. And, yeah, Revenge of the Sith just gets dark. It really shows how Anakin went from this young boy as a slave into this child-killing Sith Lord, essentially at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So the prequels is decorated with the Clone Wars and the Jedi Temple, the Jedi Order, but the real purpose of it is to show Anakin's descent into the dark side. Which is why I think a lot of people overlook it, because it's a very common thing to overlook, to see, oh yeah, the prequels is all about the Clone Wars and the rise of the Empire and how the Empire got formed. But no, it is all about Anakin turning to the dark side. Especially at the end, where we see all that drama build up to the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. We actually see at the end that Anakin still has light in him. He's conflicted. Anakin, in my opinion, was never a bad guy. He never was fully submerged into the dark side, because if he was, then he would be a goner. There would be no saving Anakin from his fate. But because he had Obi-Wan, because he started his journey as a Jedi, it made him turn back to the light side because his son, Luke, saw light in him at the end of Return of the Jedi. Which is why the prequels is very, very, very important. I know some people are iffy about the prequels, some people love the prequels, but I see the prequels as a very important story to tell in Star Wars. Because if we didn't have the prequels, we wouldn't understand who Darth Vader is, what he came from, what his past was. So if you think about it, the prequels is probably one of the best trilogies of the Star Wars saga. Even though Return of the Jedi is my favorite, prequels is probably my favorite trilogy. So there you have it, the real meaning of the prequels. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on Wookiee Arcade, where we will review the original trilogy. See you next time, guys.